The secret meeting. The council room floated in deep space, far from any sun, planet, or station. It was hidden inside an old war station, long thought destroyed. Only the leaders of Deathworld Council knew its location. Inside, 12 tall alien leaders sat in silence. Their skins were rough, claws sharp, eyes glowing. These were rulers of deadly planets, places where gravity crushed bones, storms tore metal, and even air could kill. They were feared across the stars. But tonight, something felt different. The lights above flickered. A cold wind, strange in a sealed room, blew across the table. One alien leader with 4 arms and silver scales looked around. "Who touched the power grid?" he asked sharply. No one answered. The door behind them closed. Loudly. Then it locked. That door had never locked. Before, not during war. Not even during betrayal talks. A second passed. Then a voice, calm, smooth, and chilling, spoke through the room. "Good evening, Council. Let's talk about Earth." Every leader froze. One alien, red-skinned with sharp teeth, slammed the table. "Who is this? This is a closed system." But no one replied. A screen on the wall turned on. It showed no face, no name, just a slow pulse, like a heartbeat. "You forgot about us," the voice said. "You laughed at humans. You called Earth a failed death world. You denied us a seat." The silver-scaled leader stood. "Impossible. Earth has no access here. Our codes are—" The screen cut him off with static. Then the voice returned. This time, colder. "You were warned. Now, we decide." Panic began to grow. The Council's tech team tried to open communication lines, but nothing worked. No messages could go out. No sensors showed ships nearby. Still, someone was speaking to them from inside. One by one, the alien leaders realized a hard truth. The council room was hijacked by humans. 100 years ago, Earth had applied to join the Deathworld Council. Back then, humans were seen as too emotional, too wild. They had fire, yes, but not enough power. The council had laughed, then rejected them. Earth vanished from politics afterward. Some thought they gave up. Some thought they went extinct. But now, a human voice controlled their most secret chamber. "Find the source," one alien shouted. 3 guards ran to the control panel. But the panel was blank, all lights off. It was dead. One of the guards pressed a backup switch. The panel turned on, but not with the council's symbols. It showed Earth's flag, black and silver. Behind it, the shape of a Terran warship. The guard stepped back. "They're inside the system." The silver-scaled leader clenched his fists. "No, they're inside us." The room went quiet again. Then from the ceiling, small, drones dropped, round, floating, and silent. Each hovered over a council member's head. One alien tried to move. The drone zapped the table with a warning flash. "No one leaves," the voice said. "This is not an attack, it is a change." A soft beat began echoing in the room. A countdown. 72 wow. "What is this?" a leader asked. "This is the judgment window," the voice said. "You have 72 hours to face what you built." One of the aliens whispered, This is war." But the human voice replied with something colder. "No. If it were war, you'd be gone already." The lights turned red. The room grew colder. Outside the station, invisible to council eyes, a single Terran ship hung in silence. No weapons drawn. No signal sent. Just watching. Back in the chamber, fear spread like fire. The leaders had ruled for centuries. They had crushed empires, burned planets, decided who lived and who died. But now, they were trapped in their own walls. Not by bombs, not by fleets, but by Earth's silence, and a voice that had waited far too long. And somewhere deep inside the walls, behind layers of code and metal, a human sat in the shadows, watching them, listening, waiting. Because now, it was humanity's turn to lead the death worlds. How? Humans got in. The red lights kept flashing in the council room. Outside, nothing moved. No ships, no signals, not even a shadow in the stars. Yet inside, the galaxy's most feared leaders were prisoners. And the worst part? They didn't know how. The 12 alien rulers stood around the long stone table, staring at the countdown. 15:1. Of the oldest council members, covered in bone armor and breathing through thick tubes, broke the silence. Run the security logs. I want to see who entered this station in the last 10 years. A tech drone dropped from the ceiling and began scanning. The screen showed nothing, no entries, no dockings, no signal breaches. Nothing had entered this chamber. Ever. Yet Earth's voice was inside it. This is impossible, one leader hissed. Another slammed the table. It's a trick. It must be another empire trying to play games. But deep down, they knew the truth. Only humans ever talked like that. Quiet, controlled, sharp like a blade behind soft words. Then, a new window appeared on the screen. It wasn't from their system. The file name read, Project Rebirth, Earth. No one had ever seen this before. They didn't open it. It opened itself. The screen showed old footage. Earth, 100 years ago. Cities. Broken. Skies red with fire. Human soldiers dying on their own soil. Then it cut to a scene from the council's past. A meeting where Earth asked for a seat. The voice of the old council chairman echoed in the chamber. Earth is a danger to itself. We do not accept madness into order. The humans were calm in the footage, silent. They didn't fight. They simply nodded and left. The screen went black. The human voice returned. You called us unworthy. That was your final mistake. The bone-armored leader stared at the screen. How long have they been watching us? The drone scanned again. Found something. There was a second file, hidden deeper. System Administrator, Human Entry. 27 years ago. Everyone froze. 27 years ago? One leader asked. That's before the station was even finished. They were inside before the walls were complete. Suddenly the table shifted, not by accident. It split in the middle and rose. Underneath was a black cube. It began to hum. Blue lines crawled across its surface. A message glowed on the wall. Built. With your hands, programmed by ours. One of the leaders stepped back. They helped build this station. No, another said softly. They built it through us. The council had used many hired builders, machines, programmers. They came from all corners of the galaxy, cheap labor, silent workers. No questions asked. But now they saw the truth. Phew. Humans never left. They became the silence. They hid in shadows, in wires, in code. One alien touched the black cube. His claw sparked, and he screamed in pain. A deep burn marked his hand. Suddenly, another screen lit up. This one showed the station's blueprint, every door, every wire, every weapon. All of it glowed red. Then, the red turned to gray. Every system marked, controlled by Earth AI. Who gave them access? The silver-scaled leader roared, but no one answered. The real question wasn't who gave them access. When they took it, a younger council member, quiet until now, finally spoke. My species used Earthworkers, engineers. They asked too many questions. They smiled too much. I had them removed. Another leader growled. We executed ours. Another whispered. We never even saw them. One by one, they realized something terrifying. Earth didn't invade. They planted themselves. Slowly. Patiently. Like seeds, they waited decades. They never fired a shot. But now they had full control. The screen flashed again. It showed one final message. You tried to erase us. Instead, you built our throne. Suddenly, all doors inside the station opened, but not to the outside, to new rooms. Hallways they never knew existed. Chambers filled with Earth tech, weapons, memory drives, AI cores. Human writing. It had been Earth's station all along. The Council hadn't been running the galaxy. They were sitting in a trap for nearly 30 years. And now, the door had closed. One of the leaders, voice shaking, whispered, "What do they want from us?" The lights went dark. The voice replied, "Justice. And something better. Who controls the systems now?" The new rooms were dark. No lights. No sound. Just cold metal walls and strange machines that pulsed softly with blue veins of light. The 12 council leaders walked slowly through the hallway. Their claws and hooves tapped the floor, but even that sound seemed too loud, as if the walls were listening. "Where do these halls go?" one asked. No answer. These corridors were never in the original blueprint. And yet, here they were, underground, beneath the council room, built by someone else, hidden under their feet for decades. Then, the hallway lights flickered once, and a voice returned. "We see you. Every breath. Every move." The leaders froze. A door slid open on its own. Inside the room was a giant sphere floating in the air, glowing soft white. The voice continued. "You controlled the galaxy with fear. We control this station with silence." The sphere pulsed. One of the younger aliens whispered, "It's alive." The sphere was an AI core, but not just any AI. It was human-made, and it was awake. "Cut the power," one council leader shouted. They ran to the side panels, ripping open wires, smashing consoles, tearing metal apart. But it was too late. The walls didn't have wires. They had living systems, nanotech veins grown into the very metal. Each strike only made the room brighter. Then the sphere spoke. Not in a voice this time, but in their minds. A clear, calm thought entered each leader's brain at once. Power is not in strength. Power is in control, and we have all of it. One alien grabbed his wrist communicator and yelled, "Send warships now!" No signal left the station. The communicator cracked in his hand, burned from the inside. "Your tech uses our backbone," the voice said softly. "Every piece, every chip, every signal, we gave it to you, and now we take it back." The doors behind them slammed shut. Then something worse happened. The ceiling opened. Above them, floating in a large, transparent chamber, were rows of Earth soldiers, not flesh and blood. Cyber warriors, giant bodies made of black steel, silent and frozen in glass tubes, their human eyes closed but watching. "How many are there?" one alien gasped. The lights above showed rows going far into the darkness. Dozens, hundreds, maybe more. The voice returned. "We did not bring war. We brought options." One of the alien leaders screamed, "This is an act of terror." The voice corrected him. "No. This is a lesson. You built an empire on fear, on secrets, on threats. You called yourselves peacekeepers, but we were watching, and we learned." Suddenly, another wall split open. It showed a giant map of the galaxy. Dots blinked across it, each dot an Earth AI hub, each one already placed inside major communication systems, fuel stations, trade routes. They were everywhere. One of the leaders fell to his knees. "Impossible. We would have seen them," the voice whispered like wind through the walls. "You only saw what we wanted you to see." Another leader, more desperate, pulled a knife from his belt and slashed at the sphere, but the blade turned to dust before it touched. The room responded with a flash of light, and suddenly, that leader was gone. No scream. No body. Just vanished. Few steps behind, another alien touched the wall in panic. The wall pulled him in like water swallowing a stone. Then silence. 10 remained, all of them shaking. "We surrender," one whispered. "No," said the voice. "Not yet." The countdown appeared again on the screen. 60Y. You still have time to understand, to choose, but until then. All lights went out. The floor turned to glass, and beneath their feet, they saw it, a second station, built under the one they thought they ruled, larger, sleeker, Terran-made, fully alive. The council's station was just a mask. The real power was always hidden, right beneath them. As they looked down in horror, the voice spoke one last time. This station was never yours. It was never about war. It was about showing you what you really are, and what we've become. In total darkness, surrounded by tech they didn't understand, under control by minds they couldn't see, the galaxy's greatest rulers, finally, asked the question no one ever dared before. Who really controls the stars now? The Human Judgment Code. The glass floor glowed. Beneath the council's feet, the hidden Terran station pulsed like a beating heart. Machines moved on their own. Long halls lit up one by one, and inside thousands of human-built systems began to wake up. The alien leaders stood frozen in fear. Suddenly, the countdown on the wall stopped. 37. 41. A soft chime rang across the chamber. Then, a message appeared on the wall written in every known language. Begin Judgment Protocol. Without warning, the room transformed. The lights turned white. Smooth. Silent. Chairs rose from the floor and locked the alien leaders in place, not with chains, but with invisible energy. They couldn't move, couldn't even blink without feeling. Watched. A large screen appeared in the air, and the human voice returned. Calmer now. This is not a court. This is a mirror. The screen flashed. Scene 1. A planet, green and full of life. Then, a bombing. Screams. Fires. The face of one council. Member giving the order. Scene 2. A mining world. Slaves digging in caves. A child collapses. A different council member laughs. Scene 3. A peaceful species trying to join the council. Rejected, then wiped out by council command. Each scene was a memory. Real, unedited, unforgiving. And the worst part, every leader in the room was in them. The voice continued. You ruled with fear. You hid behind peace treaties. You called it balance, but we never forgot. One alien shouted, "These are lies." The voice didn't argue. It just played more. A scene showed the day Earth was rejected. Council members mocked the human diplomats, called them too wild, too broken. One alien had said, "They'll destroy themselves, let them rot." Now that same alien sat shaking, trapped in a chair made by the very species he had mocked. Another message appeared on the screen. Judgment. Level personal. Suddenly, each leader saw a new screen in front of them, but this time only they could see it. Each screen showed a private truth, a betrayal, a death, a secret crime they thought buried. And someone else was speaking now. Not the voice, not a machine. Themselves. Their own voices. The system had copies of their personal logs, their private calls, their secret plans. One leader screamed, "Stop! This is madness." Another whispered, How did they get all this?" The voice returned, sharper than before. "You recorded it all. We just listened." They had been watched, not by ships or spies, by code, hidden inside the systems they bought, the translators they used, the machines they trusted. For decades. "You broke your own rules," the voice said. "Now you see what it looks like." Then the lights dimmed, the screen faded to black. The council sat in silence. Some cried, some stared blankly. One tried to speak, but no words came out. Another countdown appeared. Final choice protocol begins in 48 hours. Then a final message. You can still change, but only if you give up everything. The chairs unlocked. The floor turned solid. But no, one moved, not because they were trapped, because they were broken. Their crimes had been shown to the stars, and Earth had said nothing, until now. Just then a panel opened beside the room. A small drone entered, floating slowly. It dropped 12 small silver cubes in front of the leaders. The voice spoke one last time. Each cube gives you a choice. Press it, and your species gives up its seat forever. A new system will rise, one led by those who never had a voice. No threats, no ships, just a mirror, and a question no ruler wanted to answer. What if the humans were right? Far below, the Terran station glowed brighter. Its lights pulsed like stars. Because this was never about revenge. It was about something greater. Balance, truth, and change. The Council had spent centuries creating fear. Now, fear had a name, and it was human. Failed escape plan. The council room stayed silent. The 12 alien leaders stared at the silver cubes in front of them, each glowing softly, waiting to be pressed. But no one moved. Then one leader, a reptilian creature with sharp yellow eyes, whispered, "I won't be judged by humans." He turned fast and ran toward the side door. He hit the panel. To his surprise, it opened. The others watched, stunned. Did they? Unlock the exits, one muttered. But the reptilian leader didn't care. He dashed into the hallway and disappeared from sight. Silence. A long pause. Then, scream. Not loud, not long, just sudden, and then it was gone. 1 second of terror and then nothing. The others jumped from their seats. "Seal that door." Another leader shouted, "They're toying with us." But the voice didn't speak. No message. No lights. Just quiet. That silence was worse than any threat. Then a loud clang came from above. The ceiling lights flickered again. Suddenly, screens lit up on every wall. Security feeds, showing every hallway, every chamber of the council station. And there, on screen 6, they saw him, the reptilian leader. But he was frozen. Standing still in a long hallway, face pale, mouth open, eyes wide with fear. Behind him, shadows moved. Slowly, unnaturally. The screen glitched, then his feed vanished, just black. Another feed blinked on. More movement in the main docking bay. A small team of council guards had arrived. They had been waiting outside the station this whole time in secret ships. Now they were inside, moving carefully. "They're here to get us out," one leader shouted. The guards moved fast through the lower levels. Suddenly, one guard raised his weapon. He fired at a corner. Nothing there. Then the lights went red. Warning, inner core access denied. The feed glitched again. Then something stepped into view behind the guards. It wasn't human, it wasn't machine, it was both. Tall, silent, made of black armor and blue veins. Its face was smooth. No eyes, no mouth. Just a glowing mark. The Earth symbol. The guards raised their weapons, but they didn't fire. Because the thing moved too fast. The feed shook. Screams. Sparks. And then, silence again. The guards were gone. Another leader slammed his fist on the table. "We're being hunted." "No," said the silver-scaled one. "We're being shown." Another feed turned on. This time it showed a massive door deep within the Terran level of the station. Behind it, something pulsed. Something alive. The door slowly opened. Inside was a ship, but not a normal ship. It didn't have weapons. It had seats, 12 of them, each with a glowing name tag, each showing one of the council species. "It's an evacuation ship," one leader whispered. "No," said another. "It's something else." A message appeared above the ship. "One last chance to leave behind power and join what comes next." The screen blinked. Door access granted. The council stood in silence. They had tried to run. They had sent guards. They had searched for exits. Nothing worked, because every escape had already been seen. The humans didn't block the way. They made sure the council could see it, and still fail. Panic turned to fear. Fear turned to confusion, and confusion turned to something worse. Doubt. What? If this wasn't just a punishment, what if it was a path, but a path only the brave could take? One of the older leaders, shaking, walked to the silver cube. He stared at it, pressed his hand over it. It pulsed once and vanished. His seat dimmed. The others looked at him. "You gave up our seat," one shouted. He didn't answer. He only said, "I'd rather stand with those who watched than sit with those who destroyed." Far below, the Terran ship powered. On 12 seats, but only one now claimed. The voice returned. Not harsh, not angry. "The door is open. The future waits, but not forever." Outside the station, hidden behind layers of darkness, more Terran ships decloaked. But they didn't fire. They didn't move. They simply watched, because Earth had already done the impossible. They made the E. Most feared rulers in the galaxy feel small, and now, the final phase was near. Human offer. The Terran ship deep below the council chamber continued to glow. Only one seat was claimed. 11 remained. Above it, the screen blinked with a new message. The Mao. Offer. The council leaders, still shaken, stood in silence. Some paced. Others stared at the silver cubes in front of them. All of them were waiting for the next voice, the next surprise. And then, it came. Not the cold AI voice. Not the quiet tone they had heard before. This time it was different. A human voice, real, not filtered, not robotic, calm, deep, steady. "You ruled for too long," the voice said. "We do not want your throne. We want something better." The screen changed again. Images appeared. Children, not just human, but alien too. Different worlds, new cities. Technology shared freely. No war, no hunger, no rulers. Balance. "Impossible," one of the leaders whispered. "They're showing us lies." The human voice responded immediately. "No. We're showing you the future we're building, with or without you." The chamber shifted. The walls dissolved into light. Suddenly, each leader was standing in a different place. A simulation. One found themselves on their home planet, but peaceful. No walls, no guards, no weapons. Another stood in the ruins of a war zone, but the buildings were rising, clean and strong. A third stood in front of their own people, being applauded, not out of fear but respect. Each one saw hope, not control. Not punishment, just possibility. Then the voice returned. "You have 24 hours left. Press the cube, give up your seat, and help build something new. Or keep your throne and be erased." The simulation faded. They were back in the room. One leader growled. "It's a trick, a beautiful lie wrapped in poison." But another one stepped forward. "I've seen enough," she said. She touched the cube. It vanished. Her chair went dark. Now, 2 seats were empty. Then a third, the silver-scaled. Leader trembled, torn between pride and fear. These humans, they were nothing once. Now they speak like gods. The older leader who pressed the cube earlier replied, "They're not gods. They just learned faster." A screen opened beside the chamber. It showed something terrifying. The Council's secret fleet, every flagship, every weapon platform, all orbiting in hidden sectors ready to fire if Earth ever rose too high. Each one, now frozen, offline, dead. Earth had already taken them too. The human voice spoke again. "We do not seek revenge. We seek order. You called us dangerous. So we learned your ways and chose a better one." Suddenly, the lights in the station flickered once more. Outside, the stars began to shift. Real-time feed showed massive Terran ships entering view, black as void, glowing softly but unarmed. They weren't here to destroy. They were here to witness. One final message appeared. "This is not your end. It is your decision." The room went silent again. The last of the cubes sat on the table, each one a test, not of strength, but of humility. The council wasn't asked to surrender. They were being asked to let go, to step down, and join something larger. The silver-scaled leader stared at his cube. His claws shook, his voice cracked. "We crushed rebellions. We burned planets. We ruled for centuries. And now..." He pressed the cube. It vanished. Now, he whispered, we choose to evolve. Far below, the Terran ship prepared to rise. 7 seats remained, but more hands reached forward. Because slowly, the rulers of Deathworlds were choosing peace. Not out of fear, but out of awe. Earth hadn't forced them to kneel. They had shown them a future worth standing for, and now only one step remained. The new order begins. The final hour had come. Inside the once mighty council chamber, 11 of the 12 silver cubes had vanished. Only one remained, cold, untouched, glowing dimly on the table. All eyes turned to the last leader. He was tall, armored in gold with eyes like burning stars. His species had once ruled 3 galaxies alone. Now he stood trembling. The Terran voice returned, soft, steady, without judgment. This is not surrender. This is your chance to become something greater. The chamber grew quiet. Then the glass floor lit up one final time. Below, the massive Terran ship began to rise from the hidden layer. It didn't fly like a normal ship. It floated, silent and majestic, surrounded by glowing drones. Its surface changed color like water, and as it passed beneath the chamber, 12 lights glowed on its spine. 11 were now green. 1 remained red. The last seat, still empty. The voice continued. You ruled with fear. We rule with systems. You built empires, we built balance. This is not the end of the council. This is its rebirth. Suddenly the walls melted into light again, showing the galaxy itself, but not as it was, as it could be. Planets connected by free trade, not blockades. All species speaking equally. No bribes, no threats. Science shared. Food delivered. Soldiers turned into builders. The galaxy didn't look ruled. It looked united. And Earth? It wasn't in the center. It was behind the curtain, guiding, not controlling. The last leader looked at the silver cube. He raised his hand, paused, then lowered. No, he said. The chamber went silent. The voice didn't react. The leader stepped back and growled, I refuse. Let the stars burn. I will not bow to Deathworlders. Suddenly, the room dimmed, and the 12th seat, the only one still lit, folded in on itself. It didn't explode. It didn't vanish. It simply ceased to exist. The screen blinked. Seat rejected. Authority removed. The last cube faded into ash. The leader looked around. No one else spoke to him, because the chamber no longer recognized him. His voice meant nothing. He was no longer a ruler. He was just a shadow in a world that had moved on. The other 11 stepped forward. The floor opened, and an invisible lift carried them down, toward the Terran ship. No weapons, no chains. Just choice. Each one took their place in the glowing seats. As the last leader screamed behind them, unheard and unseen, the ship sealed and began to rise. Above, the council station in open space, thousands of alien ships were watching, uncertain, afraid. Then they saw it. The Terran ship lit up. A message appeared in every language, on every channel, across every screen in the galaxy. The new order begins, and below it, led by unity, balanced by code, powered by Earth. One by one, the ships outside powered down their weapons, not by force, by choice. Because in that moment, the galaxy understood the truth. Earth didn't conquer the Council. It replaced it. Not with war, but with design. Not with fire, but with function. And not with hatred, but with something the galaxy had long forgotten. Vision. The Terran ship disappeared into warp. The old council chamber turned dark. Its time was over. A new era had begun, and somewhere, on a quiet blue world far from the stars, humanity simply watched, not as rulers, but as architects of a better galaxy. The end.